If you have an appreciation for steaks and burgers and roasts, you know who to go to get the very best meat, your local butcher.
And now there's a reality show all about butchers. It's called The Butcher on the History Channel. And tonight, Sean Kelly of Salem Prime Cuts is one of the competitors. Take a look.
Throughout history, the butcher has been a linchpin to survival. In early civilizations, when foodborne diseases were claiming lives, it was the butcher, with their sharp tools and sharper skills, who kept death at bay. Across centuries, butchers were as highly regarded as doctors and eventually became a fixture in nearly every town across America.
And we are happy to welcome the butcher, Sean, to Better Today. Welcome.
Hi, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Those are some mad knife skills they have on that show.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I don't think people might not realize just how much goes into being a butcher. And you said in other countries, it's like a really strict apprentice program you go through.
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of the trade's been lost in recent decades in the U.S., but it's starting to come back. People are starting to take an interest, and we're hoping that this show will shine a spotlight on it.
Mm-hmm. And congratulations for making it on the show. I know you can't tell us how it turns out because there is a cash prize, but how did you even get to the show?
I received the email. I think they found me through my Instagram profile, and you can all check that out. Yeah, I did an interview process. They said, would you be interested in doing our show? And I said, yeah, of course. So after a series of interviews, I did a Skype interview, and then they said, congratulations, you're on the show.
So tell us a little bit, and I can't say how it ended up, but there's quite the competition. Something involving an ostrich?
Yeah.
So we have to see. I guess what the producer sent us is that you have an ostrich, and each butcher is going to determine what they can do with it.
The way the show is set up is generally it's 3 different rounds. There's 4 different butchers, and one butcher gets to win, I guess. So we'll do something in the beginning where it's more something traditional, like a pig or a beef. They did it on the first 2 episodes. And then there will be a challenge to test your ability to estimate weights and things that we have to do in a shop all the time. And then the 3rd challenge generally involves a mystery meat, such as an alligator or perhaps a snake or something that we're not used to cutting. And that really puts people to the test.
Like, how do you figure out how you're going to cut? What's your thought process?
You have to base it on experience. You have to base it on all the different other animals that you cut up, and just, you know, that's the true test. When they throw you a curveball that you've never done before, you have to count on your skills, your craftsmanship, you know, your knife, your instinct, and that's about it.
Well, I know everybody always talks about rock star chefs, and we love our chefs and we love to interview and eat their food, but they can't really cook without the help of their butcher, right? So you have to have that relationship. So
it's a relationship, yeah, and we're all on the same team, but you have to really look all the way back to the farmers. Yeah. None of us would be eating anything if it wasn't for our farmers, and that's the great thing about being a small-scale butcher is getting involved in local agriculture and trying to keep it going.
How'd you become a butcher?
My first job in the meat industry was as a clerk in a small independent supermarket. So my main job was to wrap hamburger and pork chops and put stickers on hot dogs and put them in the package. And I worked my way up to cutting box beef and meat, pork chops, and I just fell in love with the trade. So I was fortunate enough to get a job at Salem Prime Cuts, where we do everything from the slaughterhouse all the way up to retail cuts. And curing, smoking. I mean, it's been a great education. I owe them a lot. And we also process wild game, deer. Yep.
Yeah.
And I bet you have to invest in a good set of knives. So what, for the at-home person who's just cooking in their kitchen, like, what's a good knife to use?
Personally, I'm using a brand of knives that recently a friend of mine turned me on to called Victory knives from New Zealand, and they're starting to come around the U.S. But all the major brands of knives, from Victorinox, Dexter Russells are great, F-Dick. I mean, any reputable brand you can't go wrong with. And it's just a matter of taking care of your tools, learning how to use a steel properly, how to sharpen them on a stone.
Yeah. That's the trick we got to learn to sharpen too. But what do you think the most underappreciated cut of meat is that people just don't know that they should get?
That's a great question. I think that in the hierarchy of meat cuts, people tend to gravitate towards grilling cuts, you know, porterhouse, tenderloins, T-bones. But part of our job as butchers is to show that each part is equally valuable. I don't care if it's a chuck roast or a neck. You know, in the hands of the right cook or somebody who understands the purposes of different cuts of meat, it's all good. It's all good.
And there's a respect too between you and whatever meat is that you're butchering,
absolutely,
because
yeah.
you don't want any waste. And I think
No
in our
waste
culture
whatsoever,
here in
yeah.
America, we waste a lot of a part of the meats too. Would you agree with
I think
that?
that's a misconception.
Is that?
Yeah, people tend to think that in large-scale commercial production, there's a lot of waste, but that's the exact opposite. Every hide, every bit of fat, every bit of blood, everything is either going to rendering or turned into fertilizer or has some sort of industrial application. So
That's actually good to know.
basically, yeah, there's zero waste, and it's money. I mean, it's money for
There you go.
the
Wow.
big plants.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
That is very
Well,
informative.
thank you so much for having me here on National Veggie Burger Day. I didn't realize
We
that was a
planned it
thing.
out that way for
Yeah.
you.
Just like that. But you can see Sean Kelly tonight. Is he going to win? He won't tell us. You have to tune in to The Butcher to see.
It starts at 10 p.m. tonight on History Channel.
That is funny. Okay, if you'd like to see Sean's craft in person, you'll find him at Salem Prime Cuts, as he said. It's right at Salem Four Corners. The address there is 12 New London Road, and he can make you some beautiful meat there.
Yes, you can.